But I think at home, the Warriors will figure out how, and that may include a Jimmy Butler 40-plus game. They'll get enough of the ensemble effort, as Steve Kerr mentioned. But yeah, Joe, I'm giving the Warriors a game at home, and we're going to have a series still. Hope we get Steph back.
To say that Steve Kerr was searching in this game would be an understatement. He played 14 different players in the first half alone, not in garbage time. He was so searching that he was throwing everything he could out there trying to figure this out. When Steph Curry is on the court in this playoffs, the Warriors average 116 points every 100 times they get the ball. That is excellent. That is why they're in the second round. When he doesn't play, they average 93. It's a catastrophic fall off. When Jimmy Butler is not out there, it falls like another 10 points. Jimmy Butler ain't playing 48, okay? So they have got to find a way to get offense from somewhere. Before they figure out whether they can claw back a win or whether they can get, 3 or 4, win game 3 or 4, they got to figure out where they're going to get scoring. Now, the one ray of sunshine is that one of the 14 guys that he played was Jonathan Kuminga, who has not been a guy who he has played that much over the last third of the season or so. And Kuminga hit 8 straight shots and gave them a chance in the second half with a run that for a second we thought we were going to get another 20-point, a home team blowing a 20-point lead, but that didn't happen. The Wolves held them off. But unless they get that offense from somewhere, it's just going to get elementary because actually the Wolves didn't play very good offensively at the end of that Lakers series. They didn't play very good offensively to start this series. Ant got called out by his head coach. They had 33 assists as a team last night. Ant went from 2 assists in game 1 to 9 assists in game 2. That was him responding to what Chris Finch said. And so I expect that the Wolves are going to play good basketball here, and they're going to smell blood. So the Warriors are going to need some sort of offensive explosion from somebody we don't expect to get a win.
The series is not over. And before I even go a bit further, it's always beautiful to see my brother Mike Wilbon, particularly in studio.
Thank you, Stephen A.
And normally with everybody else, I say sitting in that chair is a huge responsibility, but it's in reverse. I mean, you sitting in that chair, now I got a responsibility.
I'm scared sitting in this chair. I shouldn't be in this chair.
And by the way, you can laugh at me all game long, all show long, because I've lost my voice because of my Knicks fandom. That's why I'm.
How are you going to pace yourself? You got to go to June. What are you doing?
I lost my voice, man. I'll pace myself from now on. I got excited early in the week. Who the hell thought that the Knicks would be up 2-0 for crying out loud after 2
America weeps.
Nobody.
Wait, but you lost your voice, but you lost your life on Law and Order.
We're glad to see you, Stephen.
I mean, seriously, that's my, Law and Order is my thing now.
Shout out Ted Hunter.
But it was Ted Hunter. It wasn't Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, okay.
Stephen A. Smith is alive and well. Ted Hunter got smoked. But anyway, let me say this about Minnesota. Jimmy Butler has got to be good for a game. He's got to be. That's what you got him there for. You got him there for more than that. But especially in a situation like this, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Ant-Man, when guarding Jimmy Butler is shooting 13% in this series, 2 of 15. He's got to do better. He's got to be able to get you one game. And that's really what this comes down to. You knowing Steph Curry is going to be out. Draymond shooting 1 of 6 from 3 and not scoring too much last night. That's not that big of a deal. That's not what he's there for. Buddy Hield, you expected a little bit more. He came crashing down to earth a little bit. He had 15 points last night, but didn't shoot too well either. Jimmy Butler can't be shooting 39% from the field. He's got to raise his level of play and be the guy we know him to be come postseason for one game. Because if the reports are right, Steph Curry will be back, hopefully by game 5. Worst case scenario, game 6. They'll either be tied 2-2, hopefully, or even if they're down 3-2, you got to have a chance. But you got to get a game without Steph Curry. That's Jimmy Butler's job.
Sadly, the best hope for Golden State might be Minnesota donking one off like they did in Game 2 against the Lakers or Game 1 of this series, because they have had 2 really bad shooting efforts so far this postseason. That's not what Golden State can bank on if they want to make a run. But Wilbon will give you the last word here.
Well, you just mentioned it. I mean, Minnesota has these games. And so the notion that teams play 6 and 7 and 8 consecutive playoff games at some peak level is seriously flawed. It doesn't happen. And not even the greatest players have runs like that. maybe one in their whole careers, talking about the greatest players. So it is amazing to see what Steph Curry means to the Golden State Warriors, what he means to the league, what he means to the playoffs. I want Steph Curry back.
All right. Perhaps the bigger story from last night's game was the fact that Draymond Green, in the loss, received
Possessions when he's on the court. When he's off the court, it plummets. And look at that, 93 basically. That is unrecoverable. They got to find offense from somewhere. If you're looking for a ray of light, Jonathan Kuminga played a huge second half. They actually made a run with him on the court. He made 8 straight shots at one point. They need the offense from somewhere. Maybe Kuminga's getting hot.
Kuminga was 8 of 11 last night, 18 points in 26 minutes off the bench. You sort of forecast this. You said, not Buddy Hield all of a sudden has to go from being the supporting actor
to a main character
to all of a sudden the main character, and you could see the difference.
And you saw at the start of the game too that they basically took the Steph Curry defense and put it on Buddy Hield and said, well, we're not going to let you get hot, because he can get hot. And he was, to start the game, not good. He missed a bunch of shots. He had a bad turnover, and that led to the 13-0. He was, overwhelmed by the fact that now you're the lead character and they're coming at you. It was a weird Steve Kerr game too, because he was trying to figure out, how am I going to create offense? Jimmy Butler, maybe have him play sort of a point forward. Played a ton of players, like you mentioned, Wendy, earlier. 14 players played in this game in the first half, which you never see in the playoffs, as if they were searching for something.
I don't think I've seen it in the preseason.
In the preseason, in the first half, yeah.
I've never. This is the box score from last night's game. There's only one DNP on it, and it's Steph Curry. Unfortunately, because of the injury, literally everyone else from the Warriors got into this game at some point or another. And so, look, Michael, we'll have to wait and see what is the Jimmy Butler. As we sit, look, they're not done. Maybe they find a way to win one of these 2 games at home.
I think they win.
You think they win a game?
Absolutely.
One of the 2 at home.
Absolutely. Minnesota, as I sat there and pumped them up, and think they could beat Oklahoma City in the right circumstances, they could. They still are flawed. Minnesota does stuff with just brain-dead moments. We've seen that. We saw it last year, even though they got to the conference final. We saw it against Denver when they were up 2-0 after winning 2 games in Denver. This is what Minnesota does. They do things that confound you. I was on the text back and forth with a Hall of Fame player the other night, and I said, is it just me, or does Minnesota... And before I could finish the line, he just texted back, go to sleep? Yeah.
I will say this. Ant Edwards got called out by his coach after game 1, Chris Finch, and he wasn't talking about scoring. He was talking about being a playmaker. He thought Ant was not actively helping his team. 9 assists. He had 2 assists in game 1, 9 assists last night. Totally reacted to his coach. We all pay attention to it when the coach calls out the player. We should pay attention to it when the player responds to the coach.
But how long does it last? It doesn't last forever. Those things never last forever. Yes, you get a reaction in the moment. Oklahoma City reacted to losing a game they shouldn't have lost, and they trashed Denver. Does that last to Denver? No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with it. And so I think the Warriors can get one of these next 2.
If they get one, you got to believe, because the history of the sport shows us this with the great players, especially the greatest players, he will find a way to get on the floor.
For game 6.
He will find a way to get on the floor. And even if he's